Dunkin' Donuts, home of yummy donuts and piping hot coffee, is coming under fire for a super racist sign in their stores. Now, this sign is found in a Baltimore Dunkin' Donuts that says, if you hear any of our staff shouting in a language other than English, please call said number immediately with the name of the employee and you will receive a free coffee and a free pastry. Love, General Management.
What?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, good morning. Welcome to Dunkin' Donuts.
Good morning.
Now, that was in the Baltimore Dunkin' Donuts, and people are losing their minds over it. People taking to Twitter to say, yo, what's this racist B crap? If I walked into a Dunkin' Donuts and saw that, immediately I would probably go Beyonce, Jay-Z ape-ish, for real. Because there are people who speak in different languages that have a higher volume intonation than what we would probably talk in English, or like Hebrew.
Yeah.
Lots of Israeli friends.
Percussive languages.
But also, like, if you've worked in food service, which I have, why would the general manager do anything to incentivize people to complain about employees any more than people already, like, it's wrong for racist reasons, but also, like, I'm baffled at this general manager inviting, hey, like, would you like to criticize the people making your food? Like, because then you also will get a prize. That's just, you know what I mean? Like, because people will just complain, like, people are rude to food service workers already. You don't need to make it work. Like, sorry, I can't really collect my thoughts around this because it's such BS.
Right.
I like how this general manager thought he was gonna pull a fast one by not listing which other language it was. He was like, they won't get me on racism because I'm not gonna put, like, I'm picturing a kitchen full of Dutch people just screaming in Dutch, and but yeah, okay.
I mean, Baltimore is a major metropolitan area, so it's a melting pot like Los Angeles.
Is it Boston or Baltimore?
It's actually Baltimore. It's Baltimore, yeah. But again, like I said, like I have Israeli friends who speak in Hebrew, and it's a more of, I wouldn't say an aggressive language, but when they're having just pleasant conversation, it sounds like they're yelling at each other. And I have said, like, why are you guys yelling? I said, no, we're talking about the movies. So if that was to happen at a Dunkin' Donuts and you're employed, for sure you got to be more aware. But you know, hey, the world doesn't run on Dunkin' Donuts.
So what has Dunkin' Donuts decided to do with
the
manager?
The guy.
Well, so Brent Sandy, who's a spokesperson for Dunkin' Donuts, said while the intent was to address a customer service and satisfaction issue, the franchisee determined the manager's approach was inappropriate and confirmed that the sign has been removed. Now, she said when she was asked if the person had been fired, she said that's a private matter between the franchisee and his general manager. I hate that because this is public forum, this is public knowledge. We saw the sign, people are talking about it, it's on the news, you gave the statement. Tell us if the mofo got fired or not. I don't know.
I think he did. Is that further down? Am I crazy?
We'll find out in like a week or so when someone goes back there to confirm if the person that's the general manager is still working there.
Am I crazy? Did I read that he was fired and make that up?
Well, they said that he's not at the store anymore, but
they might have moved him.
They moved him, but he wasn't
Dunkin'
fired.
Donuts?
The question was he fired? It's the same thing with the Starbucks. With Starbucks, about the manager who called the cops on the two black men. Was he fired? Was he not fired?
Right. I also just hope that this is sort of coupled with this general manager just having a conversation and like being educated on, because you know that when they were typing this up, they're like, this is decisive action. They probably were not clocking their racism detector in their head when they were writing up that sign.
Why do you think they were empowered to do this though? Like, the same way Starbucks had, they took an afternoon to teach racial, what was it they said that?
Racial sensitivity. They just took an afternoon, so they solved it.
I don't know. I think that since November 2016, we have been privy to so much just overt racism. And it's scary because never in my life, never in my 30 plus years on this planet have I ever been more aware of racist tendencies and racist people than I have in the last 24 months. And I mean, I'm from a small town in Albuquerque, New Mexico, never experienced any racism there, ever. Not until I came to Los Angeles.
Yeah, I think it's just someone in a position of power that was, I don't know. I think that just, this was the wrong call. And again, like, having worked in food service, like I don't know.
Yeah, there's nothing to say. Like it's crappy all around.
I think
such a
also
bad
it's just
decision.
like, it's just ridiculous. I don't think anyone has ever been like, oh my God, I need to go to a Dunkin' Donuts for the peaceful environment. Like, you know what I mean? It's just such a ridiculous expectation that for up and down, it's just
we're all coming down on this in the same way, which is like, this is ridiculous. And there's another thing that I would like to talk about that is ridiculous, and this is the ad campaign for John Travolta's new movie called Gotti. It's weird as all get out. They're basically clapping back at the haters. Just take a look at this and we'll talk about it after.
We've never been under this kind of scrutiny.
You fight till you can't fight no more. Never back off, ever. Gotti,
right, that's the movie. So this has been a passion project of John Travolta's. I remember hearing about this for years and years and years. I believe at one point in time, Lindsay Lohan was attached to star.
As Gotti?
No, as Gotti. No, I just remember maybe it was another movie with John Travolta and Lindsay Lohan, but I just know that he has been talking about doing this Gotti picture for a while, but the reviews have not been so good. In fact, one critic said that it was technically inept, and it got someone who live blogged the movie, panned the film, and it managed to land a 0% score on Rotten Tomatoes. That is not so good. It was directed by Kevin Connolly, who you may remember from Entourage.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
So do you think that this ad campaign is effective? The critics don't like it, but they're saying audiences loved it. Ooh, there's also another really weird tidbit here. Potentially, Gotti has been using bots on Rotten Tomatoes because Gotti has actually more audience reviews as The Incredibles 2, even though Gotti has been out for less time on fewer screens. So that is weird, and I really hope that they hired bots to like fake love this movie.
Like the weird speech bots were like, Gotti was a tour de force. I very much enjoyed the screen presence of John Travolta.
The Travolta actor really did sink this one in the ship forever.
There's nothing John Travolta has done in the last 30 years besides Staying Alive and Saturday Night Fever that I've actually been literally horny to watch. I mean, John Travolta, something about him just rubs me the wrong way.
The O.J. Simpson show?
No, when he played Shapiro? No. That was not believable. He was probably the worst part of The People versus O.J. Simpson.
So you don't think that this is going to incentivize audiences to show up to see Gotti in theaters?
I mean, as someone who loves films, I'm always very cognizant of how critical reviewers can be. But when unanimously your film gets a 0, and the other thing is that like audiences loved it. I think the audience scores a 70. I've never been like, I love that film. I'd give it a 70.
There's been movies that got horrible reviews by the critics that were fantastic films. Case in point, Mariah Carey's Glitter. Oscar-worthy movie.
Well, I don't know if
Just
I would.
kidding.
I mean, a cult status, sure.
Yes.
Perhaps that's what they're playing for.
It just seems very strange to me that they kind of released it like a drug commercial, like a drug commercial where it's like, Gotti, not even one. The critics,
they're
not
doing
even
sort
one.
of the old thing where it's just like the people are against us, or like the man wants to keep us down.
Bureaucrats.
But you're part of the movement.
Yeah.
It's like the whole. It just reminds me of the like, be a maverick. We're different. We're not like the others.